everybody, my name is Lisa Blackstone with the Horse and Rider Club. One thing that people need to be aware of when they first decide to get involved with horses is what this is going to cost them. There are a lot of different expenses. Some are recurring, some are not. And for the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to briefly go down what you should expect. First of all, there's the cost of the horse. And I'm not going to talk about that a lot here because that can vary from getting a free horse donated to you to paying, $100,000 or more in a top-notch show horse. So we're not going to talk about that. That's a very big variable, and we can discuss that another time. But once you have the horse, these are the expenses you should expect to incur. Number one, the biggest one, is your monthly boarding bill. That can vary a great deal too, depending on the situation you select. You can start with just a pasture boarding situation where your horse stays in the pasture, and that could be as little as a couple of $100s a month. You can also go to the other end of the scale and have a full-time trainer that is training your horse, and you go out and take lessons. That can cost you as much as $800, $900 a month, maybe even more depending on the instructor. But suffice it to say that there's everything in the middle. You can have a situation where you are renting a stall, but you're not having your horse trained by a professional. In that case, you may pay $300 or $400 a month, and you may then be responsible for the work required to feed them and take care of the stall on a daily basis and paying for the grade and the hay and so forth. So those things can vary quite a bit depending on the situation you select, and also, of course, what is available to you given where you live. A lot of these expenses can also vary depending on your geography. They could be higher in some areas and lower in others. The next expense you're going to have to spend every single month is on a farrier. Farrier is the professional that takes care of the horse's feet. And horses' hooves grow out just like our fingernails grow out. And they have to be trimmed about every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on if the horse is shod or not, meaning has shoes on or not, and depending on the kind of shoeing that he is requiring, whether it's corrective shoeing or some other variables I can get into later, then you should expect to pay anywhere from, say, $50 to $60 to $150 every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how fast your horse's feet grow. The next expense you should expect to pay is with a veterinarian. Now, assuming that nothing goes wrong, your horse doesn't have an accident where he needs to have stitches, he doesn't get sick with colic or requiring surgery, assuming that everything is normal, then you should expect to pay about $500 a year in veterinarian expenses. And that covers things like deworming, floating their teeth, and having other kinds of vaccinations that are required. Now, besides those recurring expenses, you're also going to have some costs that you're going to have to incur up front, like buying tack. A saddle and a bridle, some saddle pads, a couple of bits. Those are things that can be very, very expensive, several $1,000s, or they can be very reasonable. And if you're just getting started, that's of course what I would recommend. Get some used equipment that's in good shape. Make sure you get a saddle that fits both your rider and the horse. And if you do some smart shopping, you can probably get all that for under $1,000. You're going to have some other expenses like equipment such as blankets, buckets, hoof picks, grooming supplies. Those are things you'll need to buy if you don't have your horse on a full boarding and training situation. Those things are often covered if you have them in training with a horse trainer. So those are just a few of the expenses you need to think about. Of course, if you decide to show horses, then that just opens up a floodgate. So that's also for another video. I hope this helped you get some idea of what your expenses may be if you decide to get in the horse world. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more, then I'd love for you to go to my site, which is horseridingvideos.org. Sign up there on my landing page where you can put in your name and email, and that will then take you directly to a site that has 20 more videos similar to this one that you can enjoy. Thanks.